It's the Real News Network. I'm Shamini Perez coming to you from Baltimore. Amid the current political saga in Brazil, some are talking about a different political system. With us to discuss this new development is Professor Joao Feres Jr. He's a political science professor at the State University of Rio de Janeiro. He's also a head of the Laboratory for Media and Public Sphere Studies. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and discuss these with you guys.
So give us a sense of the kind of political system that's in place now and what is being proposed in terms of replacing it.
Brazil has a presidential system, and the only difference it has with the U.S., I mean, if you compare, is that we call it actually a coalition presidency because we have a multi-party system which is produced by a proportional ballot. In the United States, you have majoritarian ballot. The winner takes all. In Brazil, it's proportional. So that produces many more parties in the political system. And the president, once elect, in order to pass his or her policies, she has to actually negotiate with Congress. And the way they do that is by building a coalition based on the exchange of cabinet posts in the ministries. And that's the way it's negotiated. And I think part of the crisis now has to do with the fact that Duma actually lost support of the coalition. So it happened to her something that is similar to a confidence vote in the parliamentary system, although our constitution and presidential systems don't allow for these kinds of confidence votes. So that's basically the way it works over here.
Right, and you are saying in a Telesur article that you wrote, Temer is actually looking to maybe replace this system. Why is he doing that, and why would it be beneficial for him?
There has been talk about changing the system, and these, talks usually come from the political right, because I think that moving into a parliamentary system would actually have the effect of curtailing the power of popular vote. And how would that be accomplished? I think that, basically what you have is that when you have the president, right, in a country as big as Brazil, which is the size of the United States, has 200 million, more than 200 million people, the president is able to actually embody, proposals for the whole country. So he's able to embody, the spirit of the republic, if you want, the national unit, to pass, concepts, ideas, and policies that would be beneficial for, a big part of the population, in a sense. If he's progressive, of course. But, when you have a parliamentary system would be just a collection of, parochial and regional interests, like pretty much the way we have it now after Duma was removed from power. Go ahead. You want to say something? Right?
Well, I was going to ask you, now, Brazil is a fairly young democracy in which compulsory voting is the mission, where you could actually be punished for not voting in a general election. Now, given this kind of scenario, how is it that the ruling class or the ruling politicians has so much power and control over the decision-making structure of that country?
Well, as a matter of fact, I mean, voting is compulsory, but the penalty you pay for not voting is like very dim. It's like, I don't know, like $2. But people actually enjoy voting, and I think this is very, important for any democratic system to have compulsory voting. I'm all for it. So because it forces people to engage in politics and to take responsibility upon collective goods, you know what I'm saying? So, what happens basically is that, like in many other countries, the economic inequalities ends up by mirroring itself onto the political field onto politics. So, and that has to do a lot with campaign financing, right? Because if a politician is able to raise a lot of money, usually this money comes from private business or enterprises or from rich people. This person will have a greater chance of being elected. So if you don't regulate, campaign financing, you are doomed to replicate the inequalities you have in the economic system onto the political system. So that is what explains, the inequality in the political system in Brazil. But I don't think that the political system in Brazil is more unequal than in other parts of the world, to tell the truth. I mean, it's an elite as in the U.S. In the U.S., also politicians are an elite, and in Brazil, as a matter of fact, I think that the proportional vote for the Chamber of Deputies allows for the election of types that would not be elected if it was majoritarian, like in the United States. So I think the profile of the American representative is more conservative than the Brazilian,
Right.
because of the majoritarian vote you have there.
Interesting. And I thank you so much for joining us, Professor Joao Feres Jr. I hope to have you back very soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
And thank you for joining us on the Real News Network.